Hello friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Amelia, and today we're going to be kicking off a new reading vlog, but this one has a theme, and the theme is fall books, but more specifically, Katie is Reading put out a video talking about fall book recommendations, if I could speak, and I was really interested in a lot of them. So I have chosen a selection from her list. I have myself a pumpkin spice latte, and I want to spend the week reading fall books from her recommendations. I'm not going to read obviously everything she recommended. It was a pretty long list, and I'm not going to tell you everything she recommended. You have to go watch her video if you want to see that full list. But I will go over the long list of my selections from her list, which is still kind of long-ish. I'm obviously not going to get to all of them, but some of them are quite short, so it should be kind of a breeze. So I have 4 books here. I also have 3 on hold at the library, 2 of which I probably will not get this week. 1 is actually there waiting for me now, so we can get that at some point this week. And also 1, I found a PDF copy online that's free to read, so hopefully I can get to that at some point. But I have 4 physical ones here, so let's talk about those first. So first I have The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. This one also contains other stories from the sketchbook, but I've read a couple of them so far, and they seem to be more like this guy's kind of like personal reflections than like actual stories. So I'm not sure that I would recommend getting the collection. You might just want to get Sleepy Hollow, and that one is about 30 pages, so that's kind of probably something I can read in an afternoon at some point. And then the next thing I have is Garlic and the Vampire. This is a graphic novel, of course. This one looks super cute. I am very excited to get into this. I wanted to read it last week actually, but I wasn't filming this video yet, so I was like, no, you have to hold off. So hopefully I'll probably get to this one soon. And then I have Vicious by V.E. Schwab, which I did actually start last night, which is maybe cheating, but I needed something to read, and I knew I was starting this video today, so it seemed kind of silly to start something else and then switch to something from the video today. So I started this. I'm really enjoying it so far. It's very interesting, and there's a lot of short chapters, which is different from most of the fantasy that I read, but it does give you a lot of spots to break. Like at night when you're going to bed, it's always satisfying to stop reading at the end of a chapter, so I appreciate that. And then next I have, so she recommended 2 books by this author, Crystal Sutherland. This one, The Invocations, and then also House of Hollow. I believe House of Hollow was the first recommendation and the one that I actually wanted to read more for this video. That one actually is in the library now, so I can go pick it up. I also have this one. I don't really know what these are about, but I think they're kind of like YA horror, which should be good for me because I'm not really a big horror person. I don't like to be scared because then I just like actually get scared, you know? And I like to be able to sleep at night. So I think YA horror will be like not actually that scary, so I should be fine, but you never know. And then the one that I have the digital copy for is Carmilla. Oh, I forget what the author is, but it's kind of like a classic. My library didn't have it, so I went with the digital copy because I don't want to buy it for this, you know? And then I also put a hold on, sorry, I have my list written down over here, that's why I'm looking, but I also put a hold on If We Were Villains by, I think it's Emil Rio. And on that one, I'm #1 on the hold list, so I may be able to get it this week, but the other one, I'm like #6. It is on 10 copies, so it shouldn't take too long, but I probably won't get it this week, and that is Starling House, and I can't remember the author's name, but I was kind of disappointed that that one was such a long wait. Well, I mean, it's not a long wait, but like long enough that even if I were to get it this week, it'd probably be like the end of the week, and I wouldn't have time to finish it. Yeah, most of these I kind of forget what they're about, but they all have kind of either like spooky sort of vibes or general fall energy. I mean, definitely, if I show you, like these 2 definitely have like fall, spooky Halloween energy. I mean, this one literally has a jack-o'-lantern and vampires, you know, hand in hand. But I think I have sort of blathered on long enough. Let's not waste any more time talking then. let's get into it. All right, it's now Tuesday, so quick reading update. I'm now at page 228 out of, let's see, about 350 of Vicious by V.E. Schwab. So hopefully I'll have time to finish this today. Unfortunately, however, the plans for today have kind of been derailed a little bit because I have an interview tomorrow, and I thought it was going to be just like, usually with like tech jobs, there's like 2 or 3 interviews. And I thought this one was just gonna be like the get to know you, see if you would be a good fit with the team interview. And then there would be a technical skill test and then a final interview. But no, tomorrow is the technical interview. And maybe also potentially a little bit of get to know you kind of vibes. And it's been a year and a bit since I graduated, so I'm kind of out of practice. So I'm gonna spend the day, or at least several hours until I feel comfortable reviewing stuff. So that's gonna be my main thing that I do today. Hopefully I'll have some time in the evening to like chill out and maybe finish this book. I don't know, I still have about 150 pages left. Yesterday I read like 140, so maybe I could finish it. But we'll see. Obviously, getting ready for the interview is gonna be my main priority because as I said, I graduated a year ago and I still don't have a job in my field. So if I can get one, that would be great. So much for cozy fall vibes. I have to work. Just finished Vicious by V.E. Schwab, so we are off to a good start with this video in terms of, actually finishing some books. I read it in 3 days, so not too bad. I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna read next. I think I might start Garlic and the Vampire tonight if I have a little bit of time before I go to sleep. But yeah, that has been my break, I suppose, from, I don't know what you would call it, revising, I guess. I read my book, I had some lunch. The only other major plan today is I need to go for a run. Today was going to be a long run day, but my muscles feel kind of sore after my exercise yesterday, so I'm going to do an easy run today, long run tomorrow. And yeah, so just easy run and making dinner. Those are the only other things on the agenda, other than starting Garlic at some point, hopefully. So, yeah. of the library, and I picked up my hold for House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. I did actually just start the Invocations today while I was at work, so actually this one is quite a bit smaller. Maybe I should have held out for this, but that's okay. I got 30 pages into this, and so far so good. We're set in London, following these three girls. There appears to be magic that is like linked to demons, and yeah, that's kind of, I've got that far, like I said, 30 pages, so no concrete thoughts yet. Reading update. It's kind of a big one. It's been a couple of days since I actually talked to you guys. I think I might have filmed a few clips, but reading update. So I finished The Invocations by Crystal Sutherland. This was very good. I really enjoyed it. You can tell because I read 30 pages in the first day, and then the next day I read all of the rest of it. I stayed up 2 hours past my bedtime to read this, and I take getting my 8 hours of sleep very seriously. So that's how you know I really enjoyed this. I'll do sort of probably a bit more of an in-depth review at the end, or I might save it for a monthly recap or something, but I very much enjoyed this. I don't have a star rating for it just yet, but I would say maybe 4.5 or so. It's not the solid confirmed rating yet, but I think probably somewhere around there. It's not, I don't think it's a 5-star because I don't think I'm gonna continue thinking about it for a long time, but it was very high up on my enjoyment list. All right, next, I finished Garlic and the Vampire, and this was very cute, wholesome, but I felt like the end was kind of very rushed and anticlimactic, which I suppose in some ways is kind of the point, but also just kind of felt a little bit disappointing. But the art is super cute throughout, and I did enjoy it. I just kind of wanted more from the end. So yeah, that's Garlic and the Vampire. And then I did start The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. It's only about 30 pages and I'm halfway through, and I probably should have brought this to work with me today and finished it, but honestly the first half of it I'm pretty bored so far, and so I didn't want to read it. But yeah, that's kind of all I have to say so far, is that I'm a little bit bored. We spent half of the story sort of describing the town and talking about this guy who I guess is our protagonist, so we only have another half of it to really introduce the story and then wrap it up. So not really super loving that. And then the final reading update, I'm trying to keep this as brief as possible. I did start House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland today at work. I got I think 60 or so pages in, and I am enjoying this one as well. Oh god, this library book is falling apart, so that's kind of annoying. This is again sort of a witchy story but set in the real world. This one, there are 3 sisters and one of them has failed to show up for a planned meeting, and that is pretty much all that has happened so far. There's mystery in sisters' past where something happened to them, but they don't seem to remember, and nobody else knows what it is. So yeah, that is House of Hollow. So far I'm enjoying it. I think that I might end up liking Invocations more, but it's hard to say when I'm only like 60 pages in. But yeah, that is the reading update. So far, I would say the recommendations have been generally good. Not everything is obviously like a 5-star for me, but she didn't exactly pitch them as all 5 stars either, so I can't blame her for that. I am enjoying myself, and I'm probably not gonna get to anything other than finishing this and finishing this in this video, but I'm probably gonna continue reading some other recommendations that like didn't come in at the library yet, so I might do another reading vlog after this. Not specifically that theme, but probably including some of those books. So potentially stay tuned if you want to see that. But that is all for the reading update. Hello, welcome back. It's now Tuesday, and I did want to have finished this video yesterday, but I have still not finished Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and I really want to finish that for this video. So we're gonna have another day, and hopefully I will get around to reading that tonight. But we are clearly in the kitchen, so I'm not planning to read right this second, but I thought since this is like an autumn fall themed TBR, we could have a little bit more fall themed activities. I don't think I've really shown you guys any activities at all yet, so we're gonna do some baking because that's definitely a fall activity. And I have some pumpkin left over from the pumpkin pie tarts that I made in my last vlog, so I thought we could do another pumpkin baking thing since, you know, it's a autumn squash. And this time we're gonna make muffins, and they're gonna be cream cheese filled. I believe the recipe actually says it's like Starbucks copycat or something, but that's kind of irrelevant. But they're gonna be pumpkin muffins with a cream cheese filling. And yeah, I think that's kind of all I have to say about dripping water. I'm gonna put that down. All about those. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this recipe. This is one of those recipes that like doesn't half perfectly, so it called for 1 1/4 cups of granulated sugar, so that's 1/2 and 1/8, which I'm just gonna, you know, eyeball. Next step, an egg. It's a good thing that the recipe called for 2 eggs, because it's annoying when you're trying to like half a recipe and it calls for 1 egg and you're like, well, how the hell do I put half an egg in there? But things have worked out this time. 1 egg, pumpkin, and then we mix. Okay, it's dry ingredient time. They tell you to mix those in a separate bowl and then add it in. But sticking with the earlier theme, I don't want to wash the second bowl, so they're all just going to go straight in here, and I will deal with the consequences, which are usually minimal. It has been like a week, honestly, if I'm real with you guys. So welcome to the conclusion of the vlog. So I managed to read 4 books. I did not manage to finish Legend of Sleepy Hollow. I just I honestly wasn't feeling that interested in reading it, and I had other things I wanted to read, so I will try to come back to this at some point in the fall and finish the last 15 pages, because it just feels dumb that it's such a short story and I didn't even manage to finish it. So this recommendation was a bit of a flop for me personally. Doesn't mean you won't like it, but I got a little bit bored. The next thing, well, shall we go in chronological order? I suppose we shall. So the first thing I read then was Vicious by V.E. Schwab, and I did really enjoy this at the time. However, I have not thought about it at all since I put it down, and so that kind of is a bit of a bummer. I haven't gone through and figured out my final ratings for all of these yet, but I'll give you sort of ballparks just so you sort of know. And I feel like this movie is like somewhere between 3.5 and 4 stars. It was good, it was enjoyable. I liked like what she was trying to say with it, with the two opposing characters and the sort of gray morals in there. And I did think that some of the characters were quite interesting, but yeah, I don't know why I haven't thought about it at all, but it just sort of, I read it and then I immediately moved on. So make what you will out of that. And then the next thing that I finished was The Invocations by Crystal Sutherland, and I really enjoyed this one. I haven't thought about it like a ton since, but I have thought about it once or twice. I would say it's probably somewhere around 4 stars, maybe slightly higher. My main problem with this one is she makes the characters teenagers, but they don't act like teenagers or seem like teenagers because none of them were like live at home with their parents. Or does the one? No, I don't think any of them do. Maybe one does. But like, there was just like no need to have made them teenagers. Just make them like early 20s. I feel like it would have made way more sense with their characters and their actions. So yeah, no, actually none of them lived with their parents. One was the uncle who's like kind of a dirtbag. So in some aspects, their backstories kind of validate why they seem and act older because they've kind of been like through it. But I just think if you made them slightly older, it wouldn't detract from the story and it would make more sense for their characterizations. And then next, I read Garlic and the Vampire, and this was very cute, but I did just find the story to be a bit lackluster. So I'd probably put this one somewhere in the 3.5 to 4 star categories as well, just because the art was adorable, the concept is adorable, but unfortunately it just kind of felt a little bit hollow at the end. Like it was trying to say this thing, but because it was so committed to being cute, it didn't really say anything. So a bit unfortunate because I was hoping that I would really adore this because it is just adorable, but you win some, you lose some. And then the next I finished House of Hollow. I thought I still had it, but I think it might be, I don't know where. I'm gonna have to find that because I gotta return that. And that one I also really enjoyed. At the beginning, I thought that I was not gonna like it as much as The Invocations. However, I changed my mind. I did enjoy it as much. I'm trying to decide which one is better, and I'm not certain. I think they're pretty relatively even footing, so that's gonna put that one also in like the 4-ish star territory. So all in all, a pretty successful week of reading. Read 4 books, can't complain about that, and half a story. I would say the Katie's recommendations were overall good, and they do all have kind of fall and or spooky energy. This is the most probably like autumn coded one of them all, and then this one and House of Hollow are both kind of like witchy, sort of horror-esque. Not really horror, I wouldn't really call them horror, but they do have some spooky energy, but I wouldn't go as, well, I suppose for YA horror, that's maybe about as spooky as they can get. And then this one, it's, I don't really know how to describe this. It's not horror, but it has kind of some, it has dark tones to it, I suppose, which does make it fit for a fall read, I suppose. And obviously this, I didn't get that far, so I know that the town has kind of got spooky vibes, but that's all I got for that. So I do recommend that you pick up these as well as House of Hollow. Just don't expect this to be like deep or anything because it's really just cute. But the other 3, I'm just not holding the one, I do highly recommend. And yeah, that is all the ones that I got to in this video. I did have another hold come in. It's If We Were Villains, and now I'm thinking I might do a Dark Academia themed reading vlog. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the comments. That is all that I have time for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.